There's got to be a better way than this. Very nice. Okay, welcome back to Educating the Modern. Today, we're going to do something that for some odd reason people find really difficult. It's called making cornbread. Well, I guess what they find difficult is making good cornbread. So, the key ingredient to making good cornbread is your cast iron skillet. This is a number 5. It's a no-name brand, but it's a good one. If you've got a Lodge, toss that damn thing. Alright, if you want to know more about cast iron, click right here, and I'll teach you all you need to know. Okay? But for now, this is all about cornbread. So I got my number 5 cast iron skillet, and the very first step is to take and put about 2 tablespoons of oil in the bottom. Whatever oil you got will be fine. I'm using peanut oil. Ooh, that's a little bit too much, but that's fine. Right. Now we take our completely cool, unheated pan, we put it in the oven. We set our oven to 400 degrees. And we let it preheat. All right. While that is preheating, we go ahead with our cornbread mix. Now with the cornbread mix, I've made it all kinds of different ways. I've had my own personal batch of cornbread the way that I like to make it, mixing my own flour and cornmeal and everything with it, and baking powder and everything, a little bit of sugar. But the hard reality is, it's just as good to use Jiffy. I know I feel like a cornball for it, but it tastes exactly the way that I make mine. I like mine sweet. If you don't like yours sweet, then maybe you'll go ahead and do it. But then you'll go ahead and use your own recipe. That's what I meant to say. But the key thing about making cornbread is not in the mix, because the mix is all about flavor and it's about what you like. Okay? I'm teaching you how to make cornbread, and the key is what I'm doing right here with my cast iron. Preheating it with my oven up to 400 degrees with the oil in there. So, that being said, let's go ahead and make the mix. The mix is extremely simple. And it makes just the right amount for that little number 5 skillet. Put it in there. We create a little crater. Now the egg is another important factor as well. I'm using eggs that come right out of my chicken. And without question, these are more solid, rich eggs than what you would buy at the store. But that doesn't mean you can't use the ones that are bought at the store. What it means is you might need to add 2 eggs. It also is dependent upon the size. If you have really small eggs, you need 2 of them. If you got one great big egg, that should be enough. So, but play with it. What the egg does is it adds a firmness to the cornbread so that it's less likely to bust apart and flake apart on you as you're eating it. You want it to stay together like a biscuit does. Alright, so that's what your egg does. So then we need 1/3 cup of milk. Always use whole milk. Cooking with skim milk just freaking ruins everything. That's my dog. Can you see my dog? You want some cornbread? No? Screw you. 1/3 cup. Dump it in there. Whisk. All of this probably seems really mundane and simple, and you go, I can do that. Well, you're right, you can. The key is the way I'm doing it. While my oven is preheating, I go ahead and I mix up my cornbread batter mix. Don't mix it too much. It's okay. It's going to have a little bit of clumps in there. It's no big deal. Now that we got it mixed, we're going to leave it sit. All right. It's runny. It's just regular old cornbread batter. All right. We're going to let it sit. as our oven preheats. You want to let it sit for at least 5 minutes. If you can let it sit for about 8 to 10, that's even better. Okay, our oven is preheated. It's been about 5 to 10 minutes, something like that. And now here's what's important, the 5 to 10 minutes. For one thing, you want to make sure that your oven didn't just simply get to 400 and then you pull your pan out. Your pan could be at, say, like, I don't know, 370. So you want to make sure your skillet, your cast iron skillet, is actually at 400 also. So don't be afraid to go a little bit past whenever your preheating stops. You know, whenever you actually get to 400, because you want that pan to be hot. Okay. Then, the other thing is we want time for our batter to, it rises just a little bit and it becomes kind of aerated. You see that? See how it's quite a bit different than it was whenever we first made it? All right. That's very much a key to your cornbread rising the way it needs to. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and put it in our skillet. Now, the oil, not only does it keep your cornbread from sticking, it scorches the bottom of this of the cornbread and the sides. So as the cornbread goes in, it doesn't just simply you know, act as a lubricant. It also is literally frying the sides and edges of your cornbread so that you get that nice crispy crust. So, back in the oven. We're going to set our timer for 18 minutes. And we're going to come back and check on it, make sure it doesn't get too burnt on top. Alright. I've looked at it, looks like it's good to go. Go ahead and flop it out. Ta-da! Beautiful cornbread. We got nice crispy edges. It'll be the same way around the bottom. Go ahead and let it sit like this for about, you know, 5 more minutes. Anything that needs to be cooked on the inside should do so, sitting here just like this. And then, perfect cornbread. Like I said, what's important is the method of cooking. Use any recipe you want. Alright, do that to taste. If you like yours more spicy, I know a lot of people like the cornbread hot. Maybe they put cracklings. Yeah, they make crackling cornbread, or maybe little corn kernels in there and stuff like that. All that stuff's going to make a difference in how you cook it as well. But what you want is to allow your cornbread batter to rise while it sits, while you've got your cast iron skillet in the oven, preheating with your oven and getting good and hot. That way, whenever you put your batter into the skillet, it already crisps up the edges and we get what you see here. And until next time, you're welcome. Fucking good cornbread, man.